The Stoics propose that in the face of adversity, you stop trying to control the uncontrollable and focus on what you have the power to change, namely, your mindset and actions. That's why these Stoic quotes on overcoming difficulty are so powerful. The Stoics propose that in the face of adversity, you stop trying to control the uncontrollable and focus on what you have the power to change, namely, your mindset and actions. That's why these Stoic quotes on overcoming misfortune is virtue's opportunity. Seneca, fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men. Seneca, the mind that is anxious about future events is miserable. Seneca, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca, you need not look about for the reward of a just deed. A just deed in itself offers a still greater return. Seneca, it's not that we have little time, but more that we waste a good deal of it. Seneca, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Seneca, people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Seneca, if you know not to which port you sail, no wind is favorable. Seneca, a ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. Seneca, people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Seneca, if you know not to which port you sail, no wind is favorable. Seneca, a ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. Seneca, we are naturally disposed to admire more than anything else the man who shows fortitude in adversity. Seneca, to bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. Seneca, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Seneca, what difference does it make, after all, what your position in life is if you dislike it yourself? Seneca, even if some obstacle comes on the scene, its appearance is only to be compared to that of clouds which drift in front of the sun without ever defeating its light. Seneca, in the meantime, cling tooth and nail to the following rule: not to give in to adversity, not to trust prosperity, and always take full note of fortune's habit of behaving just as she pleases. Whatever you have been expecting for some time comes as less of a shock. Seneca, a blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Marcus Aurelius, you have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. Marcus Aurelius, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius, just as nature takes every obstacle, every impediment, and works around it, turns it to its purposes, incorporates it into itself, so too a rational being can turn each setback into raw material and use it to achieve its goal. Marcus Aurelius, hard times don't even have to be catastrophic to feel like hard times, though, and your own strength and character have a huge impact on how you react to difficulty. If you're pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Marcus Aurelius, it's unfortunate that this has happened, no? It's fortunate that this has happened and I've remained unharmed by it, not shattered by the present or frightened of the future. It could have happened to anyone, but not everyone could have. Ask, why is this so unbearable? Why can't I endure it? You'll be embarrassed to answer. Marcus Aurelius, to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. Marcus Aurelius, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Epictetus, People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Epictetus. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Epictetus. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Epictetus. Other people's views and troubles can be contagious. Don't sabotage yourself by unwittingly adopting negative, unproductive attitudes through your associations with others. Epictetus. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus. Be discriminating about what images and ideas you permit into your mind. If you yourself don't choose what thoughts and images you expose yourself to, someone else will, and their motives may not be the highest. Epictetus. Anyone capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. Epictetus. What would have become of Hercule, do you think, if there had been no lion, hydra, stag, or boar, and no savage criminals to rid the world of? What would he have done in the absence of such challenges? Obviously, he would have just rolled over in bed and gone back to sleep. So by snoring his life away in luxury and comfort, he never would have developed into the mighty Hercules. Epictetus. Every difficulty in life presents us with an opportunity to turn inward and to invoke our own inner resources. The trails we endure can and should introduce us to our strengths. Prudent people look beyond the incident itself and seek to form the habit of putting it to good use. On the occasion of an accidental event, don't just react in a haphazard fashion. Remember to turn inward and ask what resources you have for dealing with it. Dig deeply. You possess strengths you might not realize you have. Find the right one, use it. Epictetus. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. Thomas Edison. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what this storm's all about. Haruki Murakami. Behind the cloud, the sun is still shining. Abraham Lincoln. The real man smiles in trouble, gathers strength from distress, and grows brave by reflection. Thomas Paine. If you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. If you aren't in over your head, how do you know how tall you are? T.S. Eliot. It is said that the darkest hour of the night comes just before the dawn. Thomas Fuller. Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. Walt Whitman. There is no education like adversity. Benjamin Disraeli. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Haruki Murakami. Out of difficulties grow miracles. Jean de la Bruyere. When life takes the wind out of your sails, it is to test you at the oars. Robert Braille. Avoiding problems you need to face is avoiding the life you need to live. Paulo Coelho. No pressure, no diamonds. Thomas Carlyle. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Helen Keller. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche. Adversity introduces a man to himself. Albert Einstein. The brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something. Because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. They're there to stop the other people. Randy Pausch. What lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies inside of you. Ralph Waldo Emerson. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. Maya Angelou. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford. Unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered, you will never grow. Ralph Waldo Emerson. A problem is a chance for you to do your best. Duke Ellington. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Laozi. I love those who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress, and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, but they whose heart is firm and whose conscience approves their conduct will pursue their principles unto death. Leonardo da Vinci. If we had not winter, the spring would not be so pleasant. If we did not sometimes taste of adversity, prosperity would not be so welcome. Anne Bradstreet. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan. A bend in the road is not the end of the road, unless you fail to make the turn. Helen Keller. The gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man without trials. Confucius. You don't develop courage by being happy in your relationships every day. You develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity. Epicurus. What matters most is how well you walk through the fire. Charles Bukowski. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Albert Einstein. You are the sky, the clouds are what happens, what comes and goes. Eckhart Tolle. The strongest oak of the forest is not the one that is protected from the storm and hidden from the sun. It's the one that stands in the open where it is compelled to struggle for its existence against the winds and rains and the scorching sun. Napoleon Hill. Acceptance of what has happened is the first step to overcoming the consequences of any misfortune. William James. So far as my experience goes, travelers generally exaggerate the difficulties of the way. Like most evil, the difficulty is imaginary, for what's the hurry? Henry David Thoreau. Sometimes a man is intensely, even passionately attached to suffering. That is a fact. Fyodor Dostoevsky. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi light does not come from light, but from darkness. Mircea Eliade. Hardship may dishearten at first, but every hardship passes away. All despair is followed by hope. All darkness is followed by sunshine. Rumi. Be grateful for your difficulties and challenges, for they hold blessings. In fact, man needs difficulties. They are necessary for healed personal growth, individuation, and self-actualization. Carl Jung. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. While you can't always avoid the pain that comes along, you can work to understand that this is the fuel that will allow you to get stronger, more courageous, wiser, and more developed as a person.